Listen to me very carefully, because what I just found out could completely alter the future of our offensive line and our entire franchise. We might be forced into a high-stakes game of draft day leapfrog just to secure a top-tier tackle, and honestly, the thought of missing out is absolutely terrifying. Are we really prepared to watch our bitter rivals steal the exact players we desperately need to protect our generational quarterback? Before we dive into this absolute madness, do me a quick favor and smash that like button, share this video with every diehard fan you know, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep building this community together. I was reading through Albert Breer's latest draft notebook, and let me tell you, my heart started racing. He dumped all of his insider reporting, and he specifically pointed out our squad as a prime candidate to grab an offensive tackle in the first round. Now, I know that is not exactly breaking news, we have been hearing the whispers for weeks, but it is the way this draft board might fall that has me sweating profusely. Breer explicitly stated that there is a massive chance 7 tackles will be taken on night 1. We are talking about absolute monsters like Francis Mauigoa, Spencer Fano, Caleb Lamu, Caden Proctor, Monroe Freeling, Blake Miller, and Maxi Onekure. Here is where the anxiety really kicks in. The gauntlet of teams looking for a franchise tackle is brutal. Baltimore is sitting there at pick 14, Detroit is at 17, Carolina at 19, Pittsburgh at 21, Philly at 23, Cleveland at 24, and then finally, us at 25. Breer suggested that if Mauigoa and Fano are somehow completely off the board in the first 13 picks, leaving just 5 tackles for 7 tackle-hungry teams, we are going to see absolute chaos unfold. We are going to see front offices desperately leapfrogging each other with aggressive trades. And guess who is dead last in that pecking order? We are. It is incredibly frustrating to think about sitting with our hands tied. We undeniably need a guy who can anchor that left side for the next decade. Darnell Wright is completely locked in on the right side, and the coaching staff has made it crystal clear they do not want to mess with his development by moving him. So, we are staring down a list of potential left tackles. Caden Proctor is a seasoned, multi-year starter on the left side who brings massive upside. Monroe Freeling only has 1 year of starting experience at left tackle for Georgia, but his improvement over the last season was staggering, and his physical ceiling is off the charts. Then you have Caleb Lamu, another rock-solid, multi-year starter at Utah who plays with exceptional leverage. Behind the scenes, the front office is playing their cards close to the vest. As far as we know, they haven't brought Freeling in for a top 30 visit, but they did officially bring in Proctor and Lamu. And then there is Maxi Onekure. They have spent a massive amount of time evaluating him, attending his pro day and bringing him in for a top 30 visit. His story is wild. He has only been playing organized football for about 5 years. He was a multi-year right tackle at Arizona State, but when you are 6'6", over 320 pounds, incredibly athletic, and possess insanely long arms, you have the exact required traits to flip to the left side in the pros. Sure, he might need a developmental year to refine his technique, but imagine throwing him right into a vicious training camp battle with Braxton Jones and Jedrick Wills. May the best man win. Look at Ozzy Trapilo last year. It took him some time to adjust to the speed of the game, but before that brutal injury, he was playing incredibly well. If he had not gotten hurt, we wouldn't even be having this left tackle conversation right now. Would our front office trade up to bypass the leapfrog game? I have my doubts, but if one of those premier guys falls right into our laps at 25, they have to sprint to the podium. Let us shift gears to the backfield because the rumors are flying and I have some strong feelings about it. I have been grinding the tape on Nick Singleton, the running back out of Penn State. Some people in the community are throwing around DeAndre Swift comparisons, and hoping we grab him in the 4th round. But let's be totally real here, Singleton is a much bigger, heavier back than Swift. Those Penn State runners are incredibly physical, downhill bruisers. Honestly, with Kyle Manengai already on the roster, I just do not know if we need another bruising runner to clog up the depth chart. If I had to choose a Penn State back, I actually prefer Katron Allen's vision anyway. But looking at the big picture, either of them feels like the perfect puzzle piece to diversify our running game. Could they replace Roschon Johnson down the line? Sure. Could they be an RB3 this year while we figure out the long-term plan? Absolutely. But in my personal opinion, if we are spending draft capital on a running back, we desperately need someone with game-breaking juice, and I just do not see that explosive, next-level gear from the Penn State duo. Speaking of juice and massive numbers, just look at the seasonal projections for guys like Ashton Jeanty, who is easily slated to shatter the 1,000-yard rushing mark, or Caleb Williams, who has effortlessly surpassed 3,500 passing yards in back-to-back years. Our offense needs dynamic, explosive talent out of the backfield to match that elite passing output. But here is where things get truly dramatic, and we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Jermod McCoy. The insider chatter is getting incredibly loud, and the narrative is violently shifting. Reports are surfacing that McCoy might plummet into the second round strictly because of long-term medical fears surrounding his knee and that previous ACL tear. If our medical staff thoroughly clears him, would you pull the trigger? For me, if the doctors say he is good to go, he is an automatic, no-brainer pick at 25. People are panicking about his knee holding up in his 30s. Guys, he is exactly 21 years old right now. If I can get 7 to 8 elite, lockdown years out of a top 15 talent in a remarkably weak draft class, I am taking that gamble 100 times out of 100. Let's be brutally honest with ourselves, half of these first-round picks will not even see a second contract with the team that drafted them. Getting 4 or 5 elite years on a rookie deal, plus maybe a 3-year extension, is a massive victory in the modern NFL. Now, if the doctors genuinely believe his knee is going to explode by age 25, that is a completely different story, and you drop him down the board. But if he can produce at a high level until he is 28 or 29, you do not let a premier top 15 talent slide past you. So, here is my question of the day, and I explicitly want you to drop your answers in the comments below. Would you risk our first-round pick on a top 15 talent like Jermod McCoy despite the medical red flags, or is that completely reckless? Let me know right now. Thinking about how the board falls is agonizing, and the absolute worst-case scenarios are keeping me awake at night. The idea of Brian Flores getting his hands on one of the top safeties in this draft makes my stomach turn. And imagine the utter heartbreak if Detroit snags Caden Proctor and he turns into an all-pro left tackle for the next decade. That would be an absolute nightmare for our defensive line. Let's look at the brighter side. What is the absolute dream scenario for day 2? Assuming we land a left tackle at 25, I am looking heavily at picks 57 and 60. Grabbing an elite edge rusher and a hard-hitting safety with those 2 picks would be a masterstroke. Then, at pick 89, we swing for the fences with a high-upside skill player, maybe a receiver or running back with that missing juice we talked about, or even a top-tier center or linebacker. The board will dictate the exact names, but going left tackle, edge, and safety with our first 3 picks would be a flawless execution of team building. When you look at the specific defensive players, the debates are fascinating. At pick 25, if the choice comes down to Akeem Masitter, Zion Young, or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, it is a beautiful headache to have. I deeply respect Zion Young, but he does not quite match the immediate, game-wrecking impact of the other 2 for me. Masitter is probably the most refined, game-ready player of the bunch, but he is older and comes with a documented injury history. Meanwhile, McNeil-Warren perfectly fills that glaring, desperate void we have at the second safety spot. I would probably lean slightly toward McNeil-Warren, but I would be cheering at the television if we drafted either of them. Moving into those crucial 57 and 60 spots, if we go safety at 25, the dream at 57 would be a lockdown corner. Brendan Cisse or maybe D'Angelo Pons would inject so much life and swagger into our secondary. Pons might be undersized, but his tape is ridiculously fun to watch. If we still need a safety there instead, I would cross my fingers for Dylan Thieneman, though he might be a pipe dream by the late second round. Then at 60, we target the edge. We are looking at absolute warriors like Danny Dennis Sutton or Derek Moore. Gabe Jacques is an intriguing name, but the buzz says he will be long gone before we even go on the clock. And finally, let's briefly touch on the late-round strategy, specifically regarding the quarterback room. Look, we have Case Keenum in the building providing veteran stability, and I fully expect Tyson Bagent to stick around for at least one more season as a reliable backup. If we end up trading Bagent, sure, we need to add another arm to the roster. But please, let's not waste a valuable 4th-round pick on a developmental quarterback. If we are taking a flyer on a signal caller, wait until the 7th round. Take a shot on a guy with immense college experience like Cade Klubnik. I am not his biggest fan by any stretch of the imagination, but as a 7th-round developmental project with zero pressure. I wouldn't hate it at all. The priority right now is building an unstoppable roster around our franchise quarterback, and that means dominating the early rounds with premium talent. This offense was already hovering in the top 10, but with a massive Year 2 lead from Caleb Williams and a flawless draft weekend, we could legitimately be looking at a top 3 unit in the entire league. The ceiling is completely non-existent. The potential is right there in front of us, waiting to be unlocked. We just need the front office to execute.